Let's say you've already appealed through higher level review, you've gotten a decision and it was still a denial. What do you do at that point? If you want to appeal up to the Board of Veterans Appeals, you have three appeal lanes that you can choose from. The first is called direct review. If you've already submitted all of your evidence to the regional office and you don't have any other evidence to submit, but you still got a denial, your first option is the direct review lane. At that point, you can't submit new evidence. You just file the appeal and you wait. You wait for a decision. They have said that their average wait times are a little over a year. We've seen it take much longer than that, but it's supposed to be the fastest option out of the three. The second is if you do have evidence to submit, you can file an appeal into the evidence lane. And at that point, you have 90 days to submit what evidence you have.
The third option is to file an appeal and request a hearing with a veteran law judge. That you can submit new evidence in that lane. You will eventually have a hearing with a judge. I will caveat that by saying a lot of these are done virtually now, so it's probably not going to be an in-person hearing. And we will continue to tell you guys that this is going to take the longest amount of time at the board as far as appeal options go. So you really want to think about it and determine if it's worth it to request the hearing or if one of these other lanes may be appropriate. You can submit anything that you would present at a hearing in an argument letter, and the judge is going to read it the same as they would if you were on a virtual hearing and you were seeing each other on Zoom. I understand that a lot of people want to have that hearing, but with the wait times at the board right now, you just want to be very careful make sure that's what you really want before you file that type of appeal.
A few things to note about the hearing. The judge that does the hearing is not necessarily going to be the same judge that decides the case. So a lot of times a veteran wants their day in court and wants to explain to the judge and have the judge see, their ailments and everything they're going through. But the judge that's making the decision, all they're going to see is a transcript of the hearing. It's not necessarily going to be the same one that saw you and spoke to you.
That's very frustrating to me. I don't understand why you would have one judge be at the hearing and take in somebody's testimony and listen and gauge their credibility and all of these things, and then turn the case over to another judge with a transcript to make a decision. That I don't quite understand that, but I'm not a judge, so.
Another important thing to know, if you do have evidence that you want to submit and you select the hearing lane, you cannot submit the evidence until you have the hearing. After the hearing, you have 90 days to submit your evidence. But if you submit the evidence before that hearing, the judge will not consider it. It will not be in your file.
That's a really important note there because of the time frame, the wait to actually get the hearing. Veterans could very well be submitting evidence and not realizing that that evidence is not going to be taken into consideration because the hearing has not been set yet. So that's really important. So we would recommend that if you have decided that you're out of options at the regional office and that it's time for you to pursue an appeal to the board, that you speak with an attorney, let them review your file and let them review if there's any evidence needed or if everything's been developed, and kind of guide you through the process of what the best appeal option is for your claim.
A lot of times we have veterans come to us after they have filed the appeal, and if they've already selected a hearing lane, and if it's outside of the time frame that you can switch lanes, a lot of times we're stuck just having to wait for that hearing. So if you're not sure or you don't really know, as long as you're still within that 1 year time frame after the decision, talk to an attorney before deciding how to appeal, because submitting that appeal could end up being detrimental to your case.